The Boston Massacre was the murder of 6 civilians by British troops on King Street, Boston, Massachusetts, on March 5, 1770. A young boy named Edward Garrick demands money from a British soldier that he owes to Garrick's master.
Goldfish. Oh, my master some money and it needs to be paid soon.
Shut up and be more respectful towards your officers.
To hell with the officers.
Stop! If you shoot, you will die.
Crispus Attucks leads a group of Bostonians in a chant against the British.
Down with the redcoats! Down with the redcoats! Down with the redcoats! Down with the redcoats! Down with the redcoats!
An unknown soldier runs up to Captain Preston and informs him of the riot.
Thank you, soldier. I'll dispatch them immediately.
Captain Preston marches to the scene with his additional men for backup.
For God's sakes, control your men. If they fire, you must die.
I am well aware. Now step aside.
Captain Preston approaches Private White and gets the details on the situation.
Private, what is going on here?
Some town person was giving me a hard time, so I gave him a little push and this huge crowd showed up.
Men, load your rifles.
Richard Palms, a man from Boston, asks Captain Preston if his men's guns are loaded.
Those guns loaded?
Indeed, they'll only be fired by my order.
A club is thrown at Private Montgomery. He gets up, yells fire, and his men shoot.
Make a shoot. Fire!
The governor of Massachusetts gives a small speech directly after the shooting, as well as a small chat with Captain Preston.
I know what has just happened cannot go unrecognized, but we need to remain calm. There will be an inquiry into the shooting as long as everyone disperses the scene.
Governor, I can assure you the order to fire did not come from my mouth. It must have been someone else. My men had no right to fire without the command of their captain. I will look into this further and get back to you.
The governor meets at town hall to give a formal speech to the people of Boston about the shooting.
People of Boston, I hereby announce that the soldiers of the 29th Regiment involved in yesterday's bloody shooting will be given a fair trial right here in Boston. Private Hugh Montgomery, Captain Thomas Preston, Private Hugh White, and Lieutenant James Bassett will have a trial take place next Wednesday for the murder of 6 civilians. I would also like to give my condolences to the family of those killed in this massacre. Crispus Attucks, Samuel Gray, James Caldwell, Samuel Maverick, Patrick Carr, Christopher Mack. May you all rest in peace. You are all true American heroes.
Although there are multiple accounts on what happened at the Boston Massacre, this one of the unknown witness is the most accepted one.
I was standing right in front of the church when I saw this happen. Private White hit a young man in the back of his gun. A few other Bosnians ran over to help. White loaded his rifle and threatened to shoot the group if they tried anything funny. This went on for an hour. By the time the captain came with his additional 50 men, the group was 150 Bosnians and 10 soldiers. After this, it gets tricky. All that these different accounts on what happened, but I can assure you that I saw it very clearly. These soldiers threatened to shoot the crowd multiple times if they kept up the riot. Someone threw a club and hit Private Montgomery. He fell on the ground, covered his rifle, and yelled fire before shooting. These soldiers must have thought this order came from him and the captain, since there was so much noise and chaos going on at the time.
The verdict of the jury was the death penalty for Private Montgomery. He was able to get out of this by his rank in the clergy. Doing so, he was branded with an M on his thumb to ensure that he could never again use his clergy benefit.
Prisoners must be judged solely upon the evidence produced against them in court and by nothing else. And the evidence we have heard speaks plainly enough, gentlemen. A sentry's post is his castle, and to attack it by English law is an illegal act. Soldiers so assaulted may defend themselves to the death. Now the people are crying, kill them, knock them down. And they're heaving sharp, cutting ice, oyster shells, clubs. What are they to do? Behave like stoic philosophers lost in apathy? Disregard these uniforms. Consider the men who wear them. Consider yourselves